This camera doesn't know it's recording the end of a life. It is just doing its job. A woman walks along the highway outside Salta in northern Argentina. No particular plan seems to be on her mind. Just a small bag. And the way she keeps turning her head toward trucks like she's weighing a decision she doesn't want to make. You can feel it in her body language. Help is close. But danger might be closer. Her name is Maria Cash. And after this footage, after this small, ordinary moment caught on a security camera, she disappears. Their father, who spent years chasing leads across Argentina, died in a car crash with stacks of her missing posters in the passenger seat. Most of what you're about to hear is stitched together from case files, witness statements, and long investigations in Argentine newspapers that followed this story for years. But I want to tell you something else too. How Maria's trail isn't only missing in real life, it's missing even online. Because some of the footage that once tracked her final hours, now buried under dead links, private videos, and fragments you have to drag out of the internet like bones from dry soil. This is the story of Maria Cash, the woman who walked along a highway and vanished. Maria del Carmen Cash was 29, a designer, an artisan, Buenos Aires. People who knew her described her as quiet, creative, the kind of person who made things with her hands and sold them at markets, trying to build a life, piece by piece. And according to friends and family who later spoke to the press, she'd been going through a strange season. She'd gotten involved with a meditation group, Sahaya Yoga, as they call it, and some people close to her said she seemed more fragile afterward. Whether that's the full story or not, investigators later used it as one possible lens to explain what happened next. Because on the night of July 4th, 2011, Maria's father walks her to the bus terminal in Buenos Aires, Retiro. Ticket records and cameras confirm she boards a bus north to San Salvador de Jujuy. The plan is simple, at least on paper. Visit a friend she met through that circle, maybe stay, maybe sell clothes, maybe start again. Her father watches the bus leave, and it's the last time he ever sees his daughter. And in the next 4 days, Maria stops moving like someone following a plan. Instead, she starts moving like someone running from something. In a normal world, she sleeps on that bus, wakes up in Jujuy, calls her friend, and the story ends there. But that doesn't happen. Instead, and this comes straight from a reconstruction built years later from tickets, CCTV, and witness statements, Maria gets off the bus early, first in Tucumán, then again in Rosario de la Frontera, in Salta, and starts hitchhiking. A truck driver and his wife pick her up, and she goes the wrong way, towards Santiago del Estero, away from Jujuy. Later in their statement, they described her as quiet, tense, drinking water constantly, not chatty, not relaxed, like she's trying to hold herself together with small, repetitive motions. In Santiago del Estero, Maria calls her friend in Jujuy and says she's out of money. He then helps her buy a ticket. So by July 6th, she does arrive in San Salvador de Jujuy, but she doesn't stay. Witnesses later tell investigators that she turns up in a small phone shop, asks to borrow a phone, and calls her friend's family. His friend's sister offers to pay a taxi to get her to the house, but again, she never shows up. Instead, she calls her mother from a locutorio, a public call center, sounding tired, upset. She says she wants to come home. Then, the line dies, unfortunately. And that's one of the last confirmed moments her family hears her voice. Later again on July 6th, around 11:30 p.m., cameras at the Aunor Toll Plaza on the edge of Salta capture a woman walking along the lanes. Slim, long hair, a small bag over her shoulder. Investigators and Maria's family identify her as Maria. The next morning, workers at Aunor find something worse than fading. A red backpack and a bag left in a storage area. Inside, clothes, ID, a phone charger, and warm clothing for winter nights. They all belong to Maria, and she never comes back for them. The next day, July 7th, hospital logs show Maria enters Hospital San Bernardo in Salta and asks for help, gives her name, and then she leaves the waiting room before even a doctor can see her. Later, a nurse describes her as quote-unquote very deteriorated and quote-unquote lost. So in just a few days, Maria has abandoned documents and warm clothes, walked into a hospital and walked back out untreated, and kept moving constantly between cities, by bus, by hitchhiking, by strangers. Whatever was happening to her, it was speeding up. July 8th, 2011, the day the case officially becomes a disappearance. Before sunrise, a woman matching her description knocks on a door and asks to sleep inside. The owner refuses, and hours later, workers at a service station in General Güemes see her several times. Dirty, exhausted, on and off the property like she can't settle. A black pickup offers her a ride. She says no. And one employee later remembers a line that stays lodged in your mind because it sounds like someone defending their reality with their last breath. "Don't look at me. I'm not crazy and I'm not lost." That sentence appears again and again in later reporting and reconstructions because it's one of the only direct quotes we have from Maria in those final hours. Around 3 p.m., a family in a pickup, the Causeranos, picks her up and drives her to a roundabout called Torsalito. Later, when Maria's face floods the news, they go to police and give statements. At Torsalito, Maria steps out and starts hitchhiking again. A truck stops. Inside is Hector Fabian Romero, a long-haul driver. Romero admits it from the beginning. He picked her up. His version, repeated over the years, is simple. He picked her up near Torsalito. He drove about half an hour. He dropped her near a roadside shrine to Difunta Correa, besides a tire shop. But here's the fracture that makes this case bleed. No one around that shrine remembers seeing her. No camera ever shows her there. And that's where Maria Cash turns from a person into a question. Because after that truck pulls away, she is never reliably seen again. After the last sightings, the case explodes. TV segments, posters everywhere, rumors, trafficking theories, anonymous calls, sightings in other provinces, literally other countries. Almost nothing is confirmed, and Maria's father, Federico Cash, refuses to sit still. He gets in his car and drives, province to province, gas station to gas station, taping posters to walls like the act of placing them might pull her back into the world. Journalists later call him a tireless searcher. In 2014, on Route 152 in La Pampa, his car crashes into another vehicle. He unfortunately dies. And inside the wreck, police find what he never stopped carrying: stacks of Maria's missing posters. Shortly before his death, he said something people repeat every year now: "Never stop sharing my daughter's photo." His wife, his son, and the people who followed the case, they didn't stop. And years later, federal investigators go back through the case with modern tools. They reread thousands of pages. They pull phone data, they map movements like a crime scene drawn across a country. And when they look closely at Hector Romero, things don't sit right. In court records and long investigative reporting, especially the type that builds a timeline line by line, prosecutors point to travel times that don't match his half-hour ride, phone data showing longer, unexplained stops the day Maria vanished, another long stop exactly 1 month later near a zone later searched, locals near the shrine insisting they never saw her, and intercepted family calls referencing, quote-unquote, the mess from 13 years ago. Investigators also discover a lawyer connected to Romero's alibi gave a false statement, a lie that helped stall the case for years. So in 2024, a federal judge orders Romero's arrest. He's charged with aggravated homicide. And for the first time in more than a decade, the case has a suspect behind bars. But it doesn't last. In 2025, another judge grants sobrecimiento, dismisses the case against him, saying the evidence is too indirect to send him to trial. Romero walks free. Prosecutors appeal immediately, arguing the case deserves a full hearing, that Maria deserves an answer. So right now as you're watching, no one has been convicted, and Maria is still missing. When you strip the noise away, the theories collapse into a few brutal possibilities. The first one is a mental health crisis, that she breaks, wanders into the countryside, dies of exposure, and the land keeps her. It fits some behaviors, but years of searches haven't brought her home. The second one is voluntary disappearance, that she walks away from her life and stays hidden. It keeps hope alive, but 13 years later without a trace is a long time to stay invisible. Number 3. Trafficking, an early theory that spawned raids and false leads. So far, nothing solid has ever proved it. And then number 4. Homicide, that someone harmed her after that last ride. That's where the newest investigators aim their focus. But the legal system says the proof isn't still quite enough. So which one is true? We honestly don't know. What we do know from logs, statements, and tiny CCTV fragments is that between July 4th and July 8th, Maria Cash crossed multiple provinces, made choices nobody can fully explain, and never returned. If Maria is still alive today, she'd be in her early 40s. Argentina's missing person system still carries her name. Every July 8th, the story surfaces again. Her people repost her photo, and somewhere in all of this, the highways, the toll booths, the deadlings, the court files, and then there's this one sentence her father left behind, like a warning. Never stop sharing my daughter's photo. Somebody somewhere knows what happened after that truck pulled away. If you made it this far, thank you for staying with Maria's story. If you want more videos like this in What'll You Know, then subscribe and tell me, where really is Maria?